Clothar awoke one morning, just as he had any other morning. The same dull light, the same creaking walls, the same heavy weight of loss on his chest. But this day would be different than all the rest. It would mark the start of a new dark chapter in Teyvat's history, but would also mark the end of Clothar Alberich. In the years following his death, many questions remain unanswered. How did Clothar Alberich die? Who killed Clothar? The curse, where did it go? Why did the abyss harm us? How did his wife die? This is the strange death of Clothar Alberich. Yeah, fuck that. You're not getting this treatment, cracky. Clothar was a crackhead who died of drugs. The end. This whole Clothar quest, as I was making the last video, I realized in the new Dane quest, they never answered or even brought up how Clothar managed to rid himself of the curse and finally die. Despite this being a serious question, Dane said he'd contemplate in his absence.
And how did you know that there were bodies buried here? What? That's impossible. Unless Clothar Alberich finally found a way to rid himself of the curse. This all raises far too many questions. I need time to think, and to search my memories for some missing pieces.
What's more, this whole quest just managed to get stranger and stranger the more I looked into it. Take, for instance, the matter of Cariberts Mother. It's all but confirmed the female skeleton buried in the field is hers, but even this is bizarrely terrifying scary. Cariberts Mother originally came from Mondstadt. She wasn't a pure-blood Conrian.
And one day, I met a beautiful woman amongst the people. Her roots were in Mondstadt, but that mattered not to me.
This means if she were to ever have suffered a curse, she too would have turned into an Unga-Bunga person, of which there are no identifying factors that can differentiate between a female and male hilichurl. As a matter of fact, I don't even know if female hilichurls exist. I mean, we're just being honest, if you look at Rule 34, they are all expressly males. Make of that what you will, man. Clearly, the artists see something here that we regular folk don't. Regardless, it could be Cariberts Mother simply died in Conria and never actually turned into a hilichurl by meeting the requirements one would need to meet to turn into a hilichurl, which is leaving Conria. That's pretty plausible. But if that's the case, then how did Clothar end up with her remains? And I ask this because he told us himself the two were separated.
She was. We were separated. I do not wish to dwell on it.
And given we know he saw Caribert turn into a hilichurl before his eyes.
After all that, he turned into a hilichurl right before my very eyes.
This means they had already left Conria, because, again, as we know thanks to Per and Harry, leaving the border is how a half-blood turns into a hilichurl. Quote, "In the midst of that most merciless of pursuits, the three left the kingdom's borders. At that very moment, Leobrant clutched his face, and the words escaping his mouth gradually grew more like the howling of a wild beast. The witch Angelica explained thus, Leobrant is the descendant of those who forsook their god and came to the kingdom. This is why the kingdom's obstinately pure-blooded aristocracy persists. This is the price of betraying your own god." So between the separation Clothar and his partner faced, leaving Conria and Caribert turning into a hilichurl, when could Clothar have gone back to find his dead fucking wife? I don't know. I mean, another possibility is when Clothar says he and his wife were separated, he meant before the cataclysm, because we know he couldn't be with Caribert, given, Caribert's a bastard child of a commoner. In this new amended timeline, it could be, Caribert was born, Clothar's family found out, separated Clothar from Caribert and his mother, but when the cataclysm hits, the three found one another and tried to survive by heading for the surface, where Caribert turned into an Unga-Bunga person. Not bad, right? Not bad. There's a problem with this, however, and it's that Caribert doesn't know what happened to his mother.
Where's Mama?
Mama is... Caribert, look at me. Do you know who I am?
And it's not like the three of them could have reached the surface together, given then she too would have turned into the Unga Bunga. It's quite the mystery what happened to Caribert's mother. But it pales in comparison to this next mystery. I'm gonna play a cutscene. Tell me if you guys see anything odd here in hindsight. Any information we've received recently in the lore that should really call into question what we are about to witness.
Papa?
Caribert,
Papa, I can't take it.
please, Caribert. It's my fault. I'm so sorry. If only I'd known.
It's all too much. Papa!
I see. I understand now. Finally, it all makes sense. Ah, Traveler, you're awake. Finally, we can rejoice together.
Did we see it? Unless my eyes are deceiving me, it looks like we, the Traveler, were just taken out by abyssal energy, something we know for a fact we are immune to.
I have to say, though, I've never seen anyone react to the abyss like you, Traveler. It's like you're completely immune to its power.
So immune that we are headed to strike the heart of the abyss in the Night's Kingdom in 5.3. As soon as this abyssal blast went off, we should have simply firmed this shit like Superman, yet for some reason, when the blast went off, we poof. Why is that? Well, the obvious answer would be, this isn't the Traveler, it's the Traveler's sibling, but then, this raises an interesting conundrum. Is the Traveler's sibling, the so-called Abyss Prince/Princess, not immune to the Abyss as their sibling is? Based on this cutscene, it doesn't tell us either way. I mean, look, it could have simply been the force of the blast that affected us, and not the actual substance of the blast, even though, look, we know this power was the power of the Abyss, and we also know there are stark differences between the siblings. The sibling isn't a descender, and they retain their original power and maybe sword throughout their journey, whilst the Traveler lost everything. Could this have had something to do with their potential differences in abyssal tolerance? I don't know. Also, why was Clothar less affected than us? Honestly, we could probably chalk that up to, crackhead strength, if we're being honest. Lastly, there's the issue of Clothar Alberich's death itself. How did he die? We don't know. Did someone kill him? We don't know. How did Clothar Alberich rid himself of the curse? We don't know. Who buried Clothar Alberich? Again, we don't know. Because Dainsleif was supposed to be the one to tell us all this. All we do know for certain is that Clothar is a lying crackhead. Thank you. This has been the strange death of Clothar Alberich.